Good afternoon, Car Chronicles. Come one, come all, spontaneous views. I got a little time. I'm at my son's practice. But before I forgot, I wanted to touch on this. It's a touchy subject. Well, touchy for some, but it's regarding, Deshaun Watson situation and how people are viewing his situation. I might be rambling all over the place. I kind of had this in mind this weekend, but I was a little busy. But I'm just trying to get a little clarity, not really clarity, but some type of understanding of what's going on. I might have to just cut to the chase. We as a people have to understand that regarding the Deshaun Watson situation, none of us, as far as the masses of people, were there. None of us was in the room with Deshaun Watson. None of us was dealing with any one of these multiple women. I'm just going to say multiple because every time I hear it, it's just different numbers that I'm hearing. I've even heard as numbers high as 60 something. I'm like, okay, well, that's interesting. But anyway, we have to understand something, and I'm not trying to take away from any of the females that were involved in this situation. My thing about this whole Deshaun Watson, just at first, I'm just going to talk about this at first, and then I'm going to go on about it the best way I can. This situation came about when Deshaun Watson wanted a trade from the Houston Texans. It was very ironic that he had this happen after his request, which means that either the Houston Texans had knowledge of this and they kept it in-house, and when he requested a trade, it all of a sudden came out in the open. Now, again, I'm not trying to be disingenuous to the people that was infected by this, but we have to understand one thing. This case went before 2 grand juries, and none of them found him criminally charged with anything. So again, we as a people, I realize in America nowadays, I remember back, 20, 30 years ago when we talked about people dealing with, cases and stuff like that. It was innocent until proven guilty. But I noticed when it comes to this subject, especially when it comes to sexual assault, this is guilty until proven innocent. And even if you're proven innocent, you're still guilty. That's how it is in society right now when it comes to sexual assault. And again, of course I have, aunts, uncles. I mean, I don't want to put uncles, but aunts, any type of female that's in your family that's probably dealt with this. Of course, it's going to be a situation where it's going to be touchy to them. But I got to reiterate to y'all, we were not there. And the people that's saying, oh, Deshaun Watson should have apologized prior to now, you have to understand that he has lawyers. So if Deshaun Watson would have apologized prior to this happening, it would have made him look guilty and they would have been able to reopen cases on him. Now, of course, we look at settlements. We look at settlements as an automatic cop-out. And it's like, okay, I can kind of understand where you're coming from, but sometimes people don't want to go through the vigors of a trial. That's more money. You might actually save money in this situation by just settling out, because you don't want to have to go through day after day of going to court and opening up evidence about what happened. Now, what we have to understand is this too. The Cleveland Browns, obviously, well, I'm just going to say this. I think one of the main reasons why the Cleveland Browns gave him this contract is because they're hurting. Let's face it, Cleveland hasn't been to a championship game, and it's been a long time. I mean, we're talking a very long time since Cleveland has been in a position to win a Super Bowl. So now when you look at this situation, people are upset. Well, the other NFL owners are upset with the Cleveland Browns about the contract that they gave Deshaun Watson. But again, you can't be that upset. Like, it is what it is. Like, if they wanted to pay this man, so be it. Like, you can't get mad at Cleveland for what they did. Now, what we have to understand is this too. This is going to stay with Deshaun Watson probably for the rest of his career. This is not going to be a situation that's just going to go away. Even when he comes back, I think it's what, week 12 or week 13 or something like that. He's going to deal with it for the rest of this season, unless he, follow all of the protocols he has to follow in his clause or in the agreement that he had with the NFL last week. Once he comes back, he's going to deal with it for the rest of these 5 or 6 games he play, all of next year and the year after that. This is not going to go away. And again, I'm not trying to be disingenuous, but we as Americans, or as people that look at football, let's face it. And I got to keep it real with you. Yes, Deshaun Watson had a lot of accusers, but it still doesn't take away from the fact of what Ben Roethlisberger did or was accused of. I mean, let's face it. They said Ben Roethlisberger really RAPED'd somebody. And not only did he get 6 games, his sentence got actually reduced to 4 games. And I didn't hear about people chanting, "Oh, Ben Roethlisberger, da da da." I didn't hear no vulgar chants with Ben Roethlisberger when that situation happened with him. And again, I'm not trying to make this about race, but let's keep it real. You have NFL owners that's been accused of a sexual assault, and it gets swept up under the rug. We can't have a double standard just because a person has a little bit more money than the next person. It still can't be a double standard. That's not fair. But we know about Robert Kraft from the New England Patriots situation that just vanished after a week or so. Daniel Snyder, how his situation was ongoing. And notice, and well, I'm not going to put it on you, but one thing I noticed when they talk about this stuff, it's like a flash report. Like they talk about it for like 20 seconds and then they off to the next subject. This Deshaun Watson situation, of course, is fresh when it comes to the NFL news. It's fresh, so of course people are going to talk about it. But I can almost see that this situation is not going to really go nowhere. And I'm not siding with anybody because, hell, I don't have none of that $230 million guaranteed money from Deshaun Watson. I don't have any of it. So it's not benefiting me at all. I just want us to understand that, again, none of us were there. None of us was there. So we can pass judgment. We can have these barbershop talks. We can have these talks in the work office and, at our cubicles at work and et cetera, et cetera. But at the end of the day, we really wasn't there. We can't say what should have happened or what could have happened or this and that. We can't say. We're outsiders. So again, we have to understand the dynamic of the situation. He had 2 grand juries review his cases. None of them found them criminally charged. So of course we know what's going to go to a civil suit. That was automatic. He settled the majority of the cases. I think you still got 1 or 2 that's not wanting to settle. But what's going to be your next step if you don't settle? 2 grand juries already found no criminal charges. And then you had the judge, Sue, I think her name was Sue Robinson, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. She reviewed it, but she could only do but so much up under the NFL guidelines. But again, let's put this into perspective. It doesn't matter how many people, when I'm talking about in the perception of being accused or not, it only take one person to say you sexually assaulted them. Now, again, I'm gonna be honest with you. When I first started talking, I'm gonna be honest with you. It was suspicious that when he requested a trade from Houston, all these allegations came out of the blue. Again, I wasn't there, but I don't want us to forget that that's what originally happened. Now, the question that I have is, if Deshaun Watson didn't request a trade from Houston, will we be hearing about all of this? That's a great question. But nobody is talking about it because it's overshadowed by these accusers. And again, like I said, I was not there. And again, we have to understand this too. I'm not saying it didn't happen, but we're talking about a time it happened during the pandemic. All of these situations that happened, this was between 2019 and, like, obviously it didn't happen now, but we're talking a 2-year span. They even said it on one of the networks. They even said it. There was like a lot of these cases about when it happened. They said it was during the pandemic. So again, I'm not passing judgment on anybody, but I want to put this in our mind. None of us was there. So we can have the barbershop talk. We could talk all day about it. The situation is sad. Trust me. It's sad because, again, this is going to follow him for a very long time. But at the end of the day, I can show sympathy, which I can show sympathy to the victims in this case. But we do not know all of the logistics of the case. Well, not the case, because I think it's public record, but we was not there. That's the point blank. We wasn't in those rooms. So we don't know what happened. We could speculate to the sky turn blue. Well, the sky is blue, but to the sky turn, I don't know, purple. We could speculate all day, but all I'm saying is we have to understand that we wasn't there, family. And we can't have this double standard when you have other people that's in the same NFL organization that's been accused of something similar just because it wasn't the quantity or the abundance of what Deshaun Watson dealt with. It doesn't matter. Hold that same energy you have for Robert Kraft. Hold that same energy. The same energy you have for Deshaun Watson. Hold that for Robert Kraft. Hold that for Ben Roethlisberger. I don't care how long it was ago. Hold that same energy for Daniel Snyder. And there's others. I just can't think of them right now. But those are the one that's fresh on my mind. Hold that same energy. That's all I'm asking. Like I said, I'm not getting no money from the $230 million. So it don't really mean much to me. But I'm not going to come on here and act like I don't have sympathy. Yes, I do. But I do also have to say that I was not there. And none of the public that's talking about this across the world was there. Period. That's it. But again, I'm going to sign out. I don't want this video to be too long. It's almost 15 minutes, 15 minutes. Again, this is Come One Come All, spontaneous views. But I just want to put that on y'all mind that we have to understand we were not there. So, again, happy afternoon. I'm going to holler at y'all in a little bit. Deuces up. It's flat.